Guess what? It's Thursday night. So you might be thinking, Tim's going to say it's a crisis fight and it's hecka-tight, but I'm not gonna, because I'm going to remember that this night, tonight, Thursday, March 9th, is actually, wait, did I roll a wild? I am joined by two of my favorite people tonight. First off, I'm Tim, I'll be your host, and with me, I have Dr. Dylan Dyer, as well as Mr. Brian Watson, Obi Watts, some might know him by. You may be seeing on the screen right now that his name is Dan, and that is a joke. Obviously, this is Brian and not Dan, but we couldn't get
Are you my real dad? Am I getting a lot of information? What's happening?
But guys, it's good to see you all. Good to see Hobbit and Ben and Otis and Alyssa and everyone in chat. And thank you, Abba Watts in chat also for the Prime sub. I really appreciate that. But
ban that guy.
We're gonna be talking about a lot of different things tonight. There's a new MODOK, bigger, better, and less threat. We have a reveal today of what Dan believes is Iceman with a couple ice golems on his shoulder that was silhouetted out that AMG posted about today. We're also going to be discussing the Midgard Games LVO Qualifier that's going to be happening this Saturday. And obviously, if you come to this show, you know it's to get a competitive edge. And the competitive edge that we are going to be bringing you this week is the Sentinel Watch. Why Sentinels are the new meta, why you should be playing them, and our experiences with them recently. Brian has been championing them in the recent past since our LVO qualifier at Bearded Dragon Games. I have been trying to muscle them into wanky combinations on, the power phase, and it has worked out to kind of a variety of results. But the first thing that we always talk about is games played and hobby thoughts. Dylan, what do you think Brian's been up to as far as hobbying this week?
I imagine that it has to do something with metal or metal enhancing accessories. Because that's what he's into these days, from what I understand.
You are correct.
And so I'm sure you're been putting your nose to the grindstone to form new and silly, wacky. You're kind of like, you know what, man? Sentinels are kind of like the cranberry of like the MCP. You just put it in everything: cran apple, cran orange, cran beefsteak, cran fish.
If it works, it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can ferment it and drink Sentinels. It's like, it's great.
I wouldn't suggest it, but you could.
There's the old Sentinel Berry Bog as well. It's filled with spiders when they flood it. Just be careful about that. If you have any familiarity with Sentinel Bogs, a lot of spiders.
And a lot of spiders.
I used to live right near the Ocean Spray Cranberry Global Headquarters.
Yeah.
Really?
So you know the biz.
Yeah.
So.
And every single cup, there's just a little bit of Nova, just a little bit of Cassandra Nova.
Just a little splash.
Just a little bit.
A little dash of Cassandra Nova.
Little dash. But how about some games played? Have you played any games these past couple weeks? I know you've been very busy in our secret Sentinel surprise chat.
Oh, for this week, I have only gotten one game in, and it was a non-Sentinels game. I know.
It doesn't even count as a game, honestly.
I mean, it's a Battle Realms league.
I gotcha.
So, yeah, no. Things are close. It came down to kind of like one big die roll when I was about to do like a really important activation, and it kind of threw everything off. And because Battle Realms is Battle Realms, I was kind of forced to either play out of affiliation or play a threat down.
Oof.
So I played 16 threat versus 17.
Okay.
That's all right. Yeah, it happens.
It happens to the best of us.
Now,
Mr. Dyer, what have you hobbied this week? I heard that you bought a lot of boxes of something, and honestly, I don't think there's any information out there that could help us figure out what that might be.
Am I allowed to talk about it here? Yeah, I guess that has been shipped out. I got a bunch of boxes of Emma.
Hell
That's
yeah.
nice. and one of them is going into the worthy thing. So I've built the the sinister body thing, and I've built the little like platform thing that she's going to be standing on. Literally, the last piece I needed was her head. So I'm taking one of the Emma heads from the Emma box. I got to modify the hair a little bit because the Sinister's rocking a huge cape, or his like collar thing.
Mhm.
It's obnoxious how big it is. So I got to figure out what to do with her hair. But other than that, it's coming along pretty well. I finished Ulick this morning. I don't know who he is.
Nice.
Yeah, there it is. It's for Jesse from Fury's Finest, and he's painted like a blue gorilla. And I had the last minute idea of making it so it looked like ice or some kind of slurries coming out of his like punchy things. Because I'm gonna be really positive here, and I'm gonna say I think the model's stupid. So I was like, let me think. I need something to make this model look better. So I was like, oh yeah, magic. How about some magic?
I mean, magic is super dope, to be fair. I was a little underwhelmed by her character at first, but then I realized how Darkchild worked, and I was like, whoa, that's actually really good.
No, I think Ulick's rules are solid. I just don't like his model.
I gotcha.
I'm a big fan of his pose. God, his head is really weirdly proportioned.
My doctors and parents have said that about me as well. Have you gotten any games in this past week, Dr. D?
I played a game with Convo. I couldn't put Emma in it yet because it was online, but Emma will be in my Convo list for the upcoming event that Brian is hosting, which I'm sure we're going to talk about in a second. My test game, I won. My league game.
Nice.
The road to being not a doofus continues. I started typing it up. Hopefully after this next event, I'll have all the ammo I need to make myself not look like a doofus, and everybody look forward to reading that. Who doesn't not want to be a doofus?
Yeah, so I completely agree there. I feel like people have been saying it for years, but it's until you actually read the article, it just doesn't really do it justice.
Yeah, because then you might accidentally be walking around and someone's gonna walk up and be like, "Hey, yo, you look like a doofus," and you'd be like, "Duh!"
That's what they say.
Darn it! That happens all the time.
And
then boom, you fall down to the doofus school.
Once again, happening to the best of us.
Hey,
yeah,
Tim.
Yeah.
What about you? You played any games recently?
I did play a game this past week on the Power Phase. Not only did I play it, I played Sentinel Program X. Weapon Sentinel X. The Weapon Sentinel program. And I played that up against... Dan played A-Force with Spider-Woman, Black Widow, a She-Hulk, and probably a fourth character. I played New Logan, the Dumbsdale Logan, with Rusty Tooth, with Rusty's sweet smoking jacket, Sentinel Prime, and X-23.
By the way, sorry to interrupt you. This is very important for you and Taylor's weird, probably like not religious compatible relationship that you guys have. So Emma, right? And this is again from Jesse from Furious Finance, had an amazing idea.
Yeah.
Why don't you do Emma as Elsa from Frozen?
Oh, that would actually probably work pretty well.
I told them that was a genius idea. I'm never going to do it because I mostly don't want to, but there you go. There's ammo for you guys.
Well, there you go. Not only that, I have kind of a quick update for a lot of you, and that is Brian is now actually Brian on screen. Look at that. Beautiful.
Holy
Listen,
goodness.
You can always be getting better. That is the power of the Sentinels. But
you should have spelled it with a Y.
Is that how you spell your name, with a Y?
No, it is not.
Okay, so I have a lot of Brians, right? And I even have a Brien Brian. That's just like really just messes me up.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Wait, are you actually a Y Brian?
I'm not.
Oh, it's spelled Briany.
Oh, brainy. It's because he's so smart.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. That's how you get Sentinels to work, people.
And speaking of, I believe we actually have a picture of how Dr. D is going to be doing his Emma as well. For those that weren't here last week, let me make this look not dumb and gross.
So this is really good radio, but here's the model so far.
Oh, nice.
As you can see, it doesn't have a head. But the cape was quite the obstacle to overcome to fit on a tiny lady body. I don't know if anybody here has built Mr. Sinister, but his shoulders are in the cape, so you have to do a lot of cutting.
So how did you get around that?
I did a lot of cutting.
Oh, gotcha. But is there like a particular tactic? Because like people, so like as kind of a learning hobbyer, there's a bunch of terms that I hear all the time, and like dry brushing. I had no idea what that was for a hot minute, or crimping, or mold lines. Didn't know what any of that was until like just these last few months. So is there a particular technique that there's like a term for as far as how you would cut that around? Do you cut it with an X-Acto knife? Do you use clippers? Do you use a wombo combo of the two?
So if I had to do this again, I would definitely say you're going to want a Dremel for this. The Dremel is going to make a lot of the big deep cuts a lot easier. One of the big issues I noticed with this one, especially since it's like such a full body conversion, is that you have to make it so that the body and whatever it is like you're attaching to it fits fairly flush. So it's like cut, measure, cut, measure, cut, measure. Because the first thing that I always have noticed, even when I do conversions, is that you can not cut enough and be okay, but as soon as you cut too much, you're in trouble. Because as soon as you cut too much, now you have to like make matter that's not going to like perfectly blend with the piece as well, since it's not, obviously not like part of the same thing. The gap filling was interesting. I generally don't like, and I don't like filling gaps with green stuff. I really don't like working with the stuff. I actually finally used some of my gloss heavy gel to like start filling it in, because like for a while there I was trying to use that liquid green stuff that GW makes. I never had any luck with it. I always felt like it didn't fill the hole, and it also just like made it, I don't know, chunkier, I guess. Never had a lot of good luck with it, so I just used this gloss heavy gel and it worked like a dream. I couldn't believe how easy it was. So I went in there and just kind of sanded it down, and everything seems to fit pretty flush. We'll see when the primer hits it. That's when you know if there's any saving, any mistakes you've made. But I did take pictures of it as I went. My camera's currently dead. Got to recharge it, so there might be a little gap in the tutorial where it'll be like, oh, and also here, it landed here, and this is where we are right now. But yeah, it's coming along pretty well. Hopefully next week there will be paint.
Nice.
That's exciting.
And for the Lich Queen here in chat, who just started playing MCP a few weeks ago, Dr. D here writes actually a number of articles on how to paint MCP specifically without fear, how to get kind of more out of the hobby side of it. So I would heavily suggest checking out professionalcasual.com to check out those blogs, because they are very good. And even for anyone else out there, if you haven't checked those out, they are incredibly well written. Taylor and I, upon reading the newest article that's out, are always sending back and forth screenshots of Dr. D or Dylan just puts these really great one-liners constantly all over the place that just like I'll be laughing out loud like at my office reading through this painting tutorial. So you'll get a bunch of like really good information on how to actually perform while painting, and also it's just a great ride kind of the whole way through. But Brian,
appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
There is an event this weekend, if I recall,
I'll check my calendar.
At Midgard Games, an LVO qualifier, some might say.
Yes.
Tell me about it. Tell me the story of it, because this is an event that kind of popped up and then was like almost immediately sold out, right? Like registrations went very fast.
Yeah. So I wanted to do. We kind of had a little bit of a lull in between, kind of running tournaments at the store. And the last one that we did that you guys streamed at, we had 24 players.
Yeah.
So, and I remember kind of like wheeling and dealing, trying to make sure that we can get all 24 spots in and everything else. I was like, all right, well, maybe, 24 is just going to be a good number. I threw it up on Longshanks. I did kind of my usual rounds of like, hey, this is, posting in the appropriate groups, letting you know what's going on. And within about a week, all 24 spots was filled. And I was like, oh, okay. That took no work whatsoever. And there were a number of people that was like, I didn't even really know that this was like happening. Like, is there like, oh, that kind of sucks. And I was kind of like doing the logistics of it. I'm like, well, we can crank it up to 32 people, like, I guess. I mean, I don't know. We can get like 3 or 4 more people. And I let like the Montreal guys know. I let some other people know. And I opened it up to 32, and within 24 hours, that filled up. So I was like, okay, all right, this is kind of crazy.
Do you have any cool celebrities playing at it?
Actually, well, I was about to get into that because we have, like, I think 1, 2, 3, 4 people who played in the LVO Invitational. I think a TTS season winner is going to be there. You're going to be there.
I'm only going to go if Tim goes, though.
Unfortunately, Tim's still on the wait list.
Yeah, Tim did not register in time.
But yeah, we get a number of people, like I said, from Montreal, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Mass, New Hampshire, Vermont. We got some Vermonters who are coming over now. So yeah, it's gonna be a really good time. If you're pointing at your shirt, Dylan, I have no idea what you're.
No, that was more for Alyssa than anybody else.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, it's gonna be really, really good. I'm really looking forward to it. 5 rounds, so it's gonna be another one of those kind of full days.
Yeah.
But yeah, and thankfully, unlike what happened over the summer with the 5 rounds, because we have the full 32 players, we should get one single undefeated player at the end of the 5 rounds.
Nice.
So we don't have to worry about any sort of weird strength schedule
tiebreaker math, and hopefully none of that. It is very convenient when you have only one undefeated player at the end.
It was good. So and because the community has kind of been so good to us and everything locally, I'm actually upping my game as far as like prize support goes.
Nice.
So I've commissioned out some like actual like awards to be made. I'll be giving out physical like awards for first, second, and third. Mm-hmm. Also, first, second, and third are getting a free entry into Ironweld in May.
Oh, nice!
The Saturday team tournament and also the Sunday singles events.
And
people can.
Just to interrupt you here, let's plug that a little bit. So Ironweld is a convention in May. Late May,
yes,
right?
It's over Memorial Day weekend. Mm-hmm. So if you're worried about kind of driving, you got the extra time with a fair amount of people not needing to work that Monday, which is convenient. It is in Wakefield, Mass. So it's like a little bit like north, slightly west of Boston. Yeah. So you don't have to deal with the downtown Boston madness,
which is nice.
But it's still kind of close by.
Yeah.
So Saturday we're having a 3-player team tournament.
Nice.
And so that will go 4 rounds. And Sunday we will be having 2 events going on simultaneously. One of them is just going to be a single person kind of standard event. You know, kind of no frills, no muss, no fuss. But for anyone that might want to do something a little bit more casual, as people on this channel may want to do,
professionally casual.
Yeah.
Yes, I have made rules for Marvel Crisis Protocol in the zombie apocalypse, and I ran a league for it, and it was very well received. All the players really liked it and everything else. So I've kind of tweak the rules a little bit to make it just like a 1-day kind of event. And everybody who attends Ironweld is going to get a copy of those rules.
Nice.
We're going to kind of jazz them up so they're going to be a little bit more readable. than just kind of like my 8th grade, school project, kind of skills will allow. But yeah, it's kind of players like characters can get infected, and then you can't use them for the rest of the event. So your roster keeps getting like smaller and smaller as your survivors are becoming infected and everything else. And there's a chance that your whole team could be infected, and you can play as the zombies. It's madness, but it's a lot of fun.
And on the Monday or on the Tuesday night stream now, so if you're unaware, the Power Phase has moved to Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Usually over the summer we run a league of some form. We've done the Infinity League, we did some Power Bottom 10 stuff. I think maybe the zombie one would actually be a super cool one to kind of run in that slot over the summer when people have a little bit more free time and they can travel and come down for that. In addition to that, we will be streaming Ironweld. So if you're interested in seeing kind of now the 3-person team event is an LVO qualifier, correct?
Excuse me. It's not a qualifier.
Okay.
It's not. So the team that's winning, they're not all 3 of them are getting in.
Gotcha. But it is worth
they
points?
didn't want to do that, but it is going to be a points event. We are the first team event that will earn you points towards LVO in history. So we're kind of being like the experimental gerbils to see if this is going to work.
Wait, whoa. You're telling me that the professional casual event at Bearded Dragon was the first event of the season, and we also have the first team event for LVO up here in the Northeast? I'd say
history.
In
Ever.
history. If
Right.
you're not playing MCP in the Northeast United States, you're a loser.
I don't understand what's happening.
Get up here and play. Move away from your
Good.
families. Play MCP
Good
up
stuff.
here.
But I did just put the link for Ironweld in chat. It's wickeddicey.com. And from there, you can navigate to Ironweld. We'll also be streaming Everwinter this year, another event that I believe, Brian, you'll be running again this year as well for MCP.
Yeah, short of any sort of tragedy.
So there's actually going to be a lot of events coming out if you are in the Northeast. In addition to that, I'll be running an LVO qualifier in Syracuse, New York at the Art Store. The Longshanks for that, if you want to sign up, will be in the show notes. There's also going to be the Salt City GT the weekend of January 7th, where we'll have a couple of events as well. They've both of these, by the way, the April 15th and the Salt City GT have been confirmed, and I applied, and they're LVO qualified, so we're good to go there. It'll be a 3-day event in July. That should be an absolute blast. So I believe it's on BCP, if that's normally how, or Best Coast Pairings, if you're interested in signing up for either of those. But yeah, Northeast is starting to be kind of the place to go for MCP between Ironweld, Everwinter, the Salt City GT. Like, we're really kind of building out this area for MCP, and we're super stoked for it.
Also, and mad shout out to Wicked Dicey for being so helpful. Yeah, they're awesome.
100%.
We haven't even gotten into Atlantic City Open that's happening again in June.
Right.
Yeah, that's right around the corner.
So we're doubling capacity. So it's
Which
gonna
is
be
awesome.
It's gonna be madness.
It's from all the people leaving their homes and families to live in the Northeast for MCP.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
absolutely.
It's mass exodus.
We're just welcoming them in.
Welcome.
But make sure to be following professionalcasual.com on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff, because we'll be posting all this information on a very regular basis. We're going to be doing a lot of events. We'll be streaming as many as we can. We'll be streaming ACO. We'll be streaming Everwinter, Ironweld, probably the Salt City GT, and maybe a little convention. If you've heard of it, it's called Adepticon. It's in 2 weeks. Not only is the X-Wing World's contest happening.
Him. Hey, Brian, you're now the owner of PCN. So as the new owner of PCN, what would you do if you went to Adepticon?
As owner of PCN, let's see. First thing we would need to do is we would need to get me there.
Step one.
That's step one.
To where? To Adepticon?
What days would you want to be there?
Do you want
Just all of them.
Listen, we're taking a cargo van there. I can fit you in that. I can get you to Adepticon, baby girl.
Can you fit me in there?
I can. Listen.
March
I'm
23rd to 26th.
correct.
I'm
I'm bringing 20 totes of Legion terrain in addition to all of our equipment and Taylor, but I can guarantee we will have enough room.
And 160 pounds of Brian.
That's
Make sure you put that
amusing.
on. Make sure you put that on the little paper that you put on the side of the big box.
Yeah, that
We'll
needs to
spray
be
paint it on the side of the rental van that we're
It
using.
needs to be on a shirt. No, but,
For more information, please contact Brian Watson at
professionalcasual.com.
Beautiful.
But no, it's honestly it's a lot more of just getting work off and everything else, and I'm starting kind of a new function ish at work, so I really should kind of be there. But next year is much more of a possibility.
But we're super stoked for it. Like I was seizuring there briefly, the X-Wing World Championship, Legion World Championship, Armada World Championship. MCP is going to be there in a big force as well. We'll be streaming it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thursday is I'm gonna get to Shatterpoint. Don't you worry.
Skip all the other stuff. Shatterpoint.
Thursday is going to be a what if event. Friday is the big team tournament, the 2v2 tournament that was awesome last year. That's one's going to be probably a 12-hour stream. It's super dope. Saturday and Sunday is going to be the Challenger event. Also the Contest of Champions, which is baller as all heck. And then Friday will also be another what if and an affiliation battle. So it's going to be 4 days of fun. There's also a bunch of events Wednesday. And AMG is going to be there as well, right next to us, I believe, streaming that entire thing. And they're going to be doing Shatterpoint demos. So if you've been checking out the transmissions that have been going on recently for Shatterpoint, we're getting a ton of information on how the game is played. This past week, we got a little bit how attacks were done. Or at least kind of like how the turn order and stuff works. That game is looking absolutely dope, and we're super excited to cover that as well. We're also going to be covering The Worthy, the big, massive painting competition that Dylan's going to win. We'll be streaming that as well.
I don't know about that. I just want the patch. You get a little commemorative patch.
Yeah, there's actually going to be a bunch of really, really, really super cool, dope, exciting things that that AMG is going to be kind of providing for MCP at this, and I'm very excited to be able to stream it all. But
hey, Tim, you know how I've always described you as a mechanism only designed for announcing?
That's true. Madoa.
Do you know anything else that might have a similar type of acronym?
Madofa? I think it's Madofa, actually.
Okay,
he died
that's
in
a
Avenger.
good one.
But I do! Great segue. And so
Never forget.
AMG released this week something that personally I'm actually super excited for, and got more excited after I started reading the card, and that is the new MODOK. This 4-threat beast. Absolute bludgeon. The scientist supreme himself is here, and cheaper than ever, some might say. This is the and I don't like to say cheap. Cheap's a bad word. The most inexpensive MODOK ever is what this bad boy is. Correct.
Most affordable.
Yeah, affordable. That's a good word.
All right. Let's jump right into this MODOK. So, and before we do that, by just jumping in, I mean, what were your initial reactions to this particular character reveal before we got the card? Were you excited for a new MODOK? Did you not want a new MODOK? Did you think that it was just Iceman with 2 guns on his shoulders? What was your kind of initial response here?
I know that when they sort of soft announced this, it was Dallas, I think in one of the painting things, he said that specifically there was another Hulk and another MODOK coming. I specifically took that, is they're going to be bigger and more expensive, and that was the case with Hulk. 100% was not expecting it to be a cheaper version. That was completely out of left field.
Kind of a sandwich, right? So you have 2 MODOKs at 4 and 5, and then 2 Hulks at 6 and 7, which is it's not really a sandwich as much as it is 2 pieces of bread with 2 pieces of cheese on top of it.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's that probably costs a lot of money in France, but and here in America,
it's called a McAMG, a Royale with AMG.
I would say I can't say I was hoping for a MODOK, but I mean, yeah, we got him. Might as well celebrate that he's here. How about you, Brian?
I was more kind of interested on where they were going to go with him. You know,
Right.
because
Right.
it's kind of like when we got the first MODOK, I was like, okay, well, this is the quintessential MODOK.
Mhm.
Like, what else? Like, where else can it go?
Yeah, I guess
Right.
they
And
could have
then-
done like a different MODOK, like because I know there's been more than one,
Oh,
like
okay.
different named ones.
Oh, maybe that. Maybe that.
Scientist Supreme, MODOK, Sentinel Supreme.
Taco Supreme.
Yep. Cutlass Supreme.
Cutlass.
Toyota Supreme.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Was it Toyota that had the Supreme?
I
don't
can't
know.
remember.
Anyways,
there
a
was
car
that
that was
Tenacious
named
D
after it.
song, right? That like
Yeah,
said,
exactly. That's
yeah,
where I'm going with it.
that's where I got most of them.
Yep.
So let's jump right into this particular character. So this is MODOK Scientist Supreme George Tarleton. Was the initial MODOK given the alias of George Tarleton?
He was, yes.
Yes, he was.
Stupid. So that means we can't use them both at the same time. All right.
Correct.
All right. So running down the stats quick, 335 for defenses. That's right. This MODOK at 4 threat is 50% more resistant to physical attacks than the 5 threat MODOK. 7 stamina on his healthy side, 4 threat, size 3, short mover. So significantly less stamina, which, you know, kind of makes up for the fact that he has the 3 physical defense. What
Balances out.
Right. So I think this is pretty valid so far, right? That's still pretty high stamina, right, for a 4 threat. On his injured side, that gets counteracted a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for sure.
his Doomsday Chair is also his builder now. And I think I called this when we were talking about it initially, that because he had kind of that rocket pod on the model and like the laser thing, that it was he was going to have something that was going to be able to choose between physical and energy attack, and Doomsday Chair Arsenal certainly does that. Range 4, Strength 5.
I was going to say one thing you should know, he did decrease in size. He was a 4, now he is a 3.
Oh, so he's got a smaller chair.
He sure does. Yeah, he was
Because they're not baby legs.
Nope. He's been going to chair watchers. He's been trying to lose that weight, you know.
He's been doing the chair aerobics that they do
Exactly.
at the heck yeah. All right.
Good for him.
Good for you, George.
I completely agree. And his teeth are probably 30% bigger in this particular art than this other one.
They sure are.
Well, and that makes sense, right? He looks a little bit more wrinkled. Maybe this is an older MODOK, a little bit more shriveled up, and that's why
Very
he's
dehydrated.
smaller. Yes. And that's why he has that really thick, leathery skin, which is why his physical defense is 50% better.
Right.
But
Smart.
before, so range 4, strength 5, 0 power for Doomsday Chair Arsenal. Before choosing a target, this character chooses whether your attack type is physical or energy. After this attack is resolved, this character gains power equal to the damage dealt. And Incinerate in a wild. That is what I love. I love Incinerate. He has it on his builder. That is dope. Just straight up dope. I don't know why you would ever run Cable when this guy is so much cheaper and bigger. Dylan, do you want to talk at all about his Psionic Assault Spender?
I would love to. I'm gonna say that it's a mystic attack. It's range 3, strength 7. It costs 4 power. Before damage is dealt, you'll love to see it, folks. Before damage is dealt, this character may advance the target short, and on a wild, you disorientate them. Before damage is dealt, you may give the character stun. Also, something you love to see. Seems to be like a AMG consistent thing they've been doing lately, because it's the same thing for Spider-Woman, and I think there was one other character that had a stun before.
Psylocke.
Well,
Psylocke,
and
yeah,
Mystique
Psylocke.
had it first.
Yeah, she had it first, yeah, but I knew Mystique or Psylocke is the one that just got it recently. Yeah. Would you like me to talk about AIM?
I would. So,
All right,
so this
so-
MODOK's a leader, right? I've heard.
This is the
He-
best part about this model.
A leader
Is
of
a
men.
leader. So advanced idea mechanics. If you put periods in between those, it turns into AIM. It just collapses in on itself. So advanced idea mechanics, affiliation, criminal syndicate. Once per turn, when an allied character is attacking or defending, if it is holding or contesting an objective token and has one or more wilds in its role, you may change one of the dice to either a kablamo or a shield.
Right?
Pretty good.
Hell yeah, it is. This has me excited.
It's like Warrior of Legend, the leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it.
attack and defense.
I'm curious to see how much this is going to come up in defense rolls, because you figure defense rolls are going to be a lot like smaller dice pools, and I think if you roll the wild, you're going to get like way more bang for your buck, because obviously you want better defense rolls most of the time. But obviously you're going to roll wilds usually a lot less, because you're usually rolling at least 2 or 3 more dice less than you would for an attack roll. But when you do get it, it's gonna hurt. Like your opponent might have an aneurysm.
Correct.
If you do it enough.
Well, and I really like just the narrative element of it too, as far as Criminal Syndicate. All the Criminal Syndicate leadership abilities have been based around controlling or being able to control objectives, and this kind of keeps that right in line. They are focused on obtaining an asset and holding on to it, whether it's Kingpin, counting everyone as double as long as they're healthy, whether it's Shadowlands Daredevil, getting rerolls to try to obtain objectives from people, and now a defensive one. We kind of have the suite, right? Objective securing, attacking, and now a defensive. Well, I guess this is attacking and defensive mechanic, but a big part of MODOK initially was getting those wilds and kind of boiling that down a little bit and spreading it out as an affiliation ability. I think is so dope. I'm actually super excited to go back into Criminal Syndicate because it's been a hot minute for me. Also, I'm gonna get so many more rapid fires and rerolls all the time. You know, if this isn't in Nate GG's like oops all rapid fire and rerolls like literally tomorrow, I don't know. I don't even know what to do with myself.
He's fired.
Yeah,
he's fired from PCN. Jerk.
I'll make it happen.
The one thing I will say that's kind of interesting, I don't think it'll come up, but it doesn't actually specifically state that you need to give yourself the Kablamo or the shield on either defense or offense. Most of the time, it's probably not going to matter, but I know that at least Doctor Strange, that's the one character I use most of the time, he does have triggers that only come off when you roll a shield. Mm-hmm. So if you have characters that need shields for whatever reason for one of their triggers, could potentially be very helpful for that.
Here's a stupid corner case thing.
If you do what I was about to say, I'm going to be real upset, but go for it.
And then you're fired from PCN.
Damn it. I will fire myself. Killmonger.
No! God! Okay, fine.
Is going to be triggering special forces. So he wants to change it to a
shield,
a block, which is the exact same thing that if he changed it to a hit, but you want to style on your opponent because you paid for special forces anyway, or you're going to change it to a block and change it to a hit just to rub it in.
You rolled only wilds, right? You have a bunch of wilds and crits, and then that you spend for special forces, and they're like, why? And you're like, watch this.
Because I want to drain myself of power.
Watch me spend this power fruitlessly in your face, nerd. That's the true
style
flex.
on him. That's all you want to do.
I can think of at least a few triggers that I think need shields on attacks. Like I think Super Giants needs one for like the Yahtzee thing.
There are. Quicksilver.
There's a couple. Yeah, Quicksilver needs it. But so like those characters might get a new home here. I mean, I doubt it. It's super fringe, but it's at least something to think about.
I mean, how would this work with Warrior of Legend? By the way, would that like kind of double count?
I think as far as I'm aware, these things do double happen. So I know that Valkyries will happen that way. I think Gamora's is the exact same thing, or not exactly the same, but Gamora also has Deadliest Woman in the Galaxy.
Valkyries. That's actually super legit.
Yeah, those characters really get like a pretty good facelift. I've always thought Gamora's amazing. I think Valkyrie's still really, really good. I'm actually amazed you don't see her more, but yeah, they're definitely going to be with George if you're bringing like a George only Criminal Syndicate thing. Which I'm sure people, I don't know, I'm sure someone out there's really into MODOK.
I am.
Hey, he's an Avenger.
Right.
I'm smelling a future, the power phase roster.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Just like how much AIM leadership triggers shenanigans can we pull?
Yeah. Hey, actually, Tim, by my calculations, you'll be dead in seconds, which you could say is a active superpower where I spend 3 power. And then I can choose an interactive terrain feature of size 4 or less within range 3 and throw it smoke. This superpower can only be used once per turn. I would say that's a pretty good throw. Any throw that lets you pick something up from range 3 away, hot diggity darn is real, real good.
Yeah, that's so just another buff for Brotherhood.
Yeah, George confirmed. George is now a member of Brotherhood.
May as
Just like
well
every
be.
other model. with the
At least he
throw.
died a member
Yeah.
of the Brotherhood, you know?
You've always thought of Magneto as a brother. A brotherhood. Oh! All right, so yeah, that's a really good throw. That's one of the best parts of like Doc Ock is that range 3 grab.
Yeah.
It is so super clutch. It's amazing. Plus, he's probably not going to want to be very close to anybody anyway. But, yeah.
Brian, as far as like all in this world and whether they're beneath MODOK or not, like what are your opinions on something like that?
Well,
Reactively.
as somebody who also has the burden of all the world being beneath me, I can relate with what the Scientist Supreme is going through. So when he's attacking during rerolls, instead of spending it himself like a chump, he has other people, like somebody within 3, spend up to 3 for him to let him reroll an attack die. So it's pretty good. It's
pretty neat.
Yeah, it's a nice way for him to keep getting those reroll triggers for those wilds and still being able to kind of save up for the throw, which is always handy, or to make sure that he doesn't have to worry about like, oh, do I get these rerolls here? But I want to save it for the next superpower we're going to talk about. Like, he doesn't have to make any of those decisions. He's just like, hey, you War Machine, with all that power you're not doing anything with, why don't you throw a few my way?
Now, unlike some of the other reroll mechanics we've seen, this is only for attack dice.
Yes.
Yeah. So, just throwing this out there now, MODOK unlocks the Sentinels. When you can have pattern analysis stacking with all in this world are beneath me, you will be unstoppable, especially if you bring a Sentinel Prime into Criminal Syndicate and you're getting rerolls at range 3 on attack rolls and range 4 on everything. Fishing for those wilds to convert more things into more things, MODOK and Sentinel Prime are best friends. They have been forever, and honestly, everything is in fact beneath them.
I think Taylor should disassemble the Sentinel Prime, reassemble them so that MODOK and Sentinel Prime can be holding hands while they're walking down the street together.
All right, here's what I'm going to have Taylor do.
Getting Tom Sawyer. There we go. Here we go.
All right, so Taylor, get ready for this. He is going to remove the torso completely from Sentinel Prime. He's going to be a reverse MODOK, right? It's just the Sentinel head on the Sentinel legs with both of those big Sentinel arms coming off of it. He's going to look so rad. Right.
He's got extras.
Correct.
Yeah.
He's going to look like jacked Arnold Zola with a little tiny head, which I think
there was a specific MODOK that was like a himbo. Like it was specifically a mod. Like I don't remember his name, but that would definitely be who he is.
Oh, it was Brodok.
Brodok.
He had the Fabio hair, and he was offering cosmetic treatments that just turned people into monsters.
That's right.
Sorry, I'm looking this up now.
It is. Brodok was incredible.
MODOK Superior, I think it was called.
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
And he's got like he looks like Hercules from like Smite. It's pretty funny.
So it is the biorobotic organism designed overwhelmingly for kissing. This is the greatest. This is the greatest thing I've ever heard of.
I think it's Earth 616.
It is.
That is canon universe, baby.
Yeah, he went to the West Coast for a while. He was hanging out with the Young Avengers, I think. He was like working with them, and then they were like, "Wait, this is a bad guy. He's turning people into monsters." It was pretty dope.
Classic Brodok. AMG win Brodok, please.
Yeah.
Please confirm Brodok, please.
Mm-hmm. Probably going to be the an additional affiliation leader for the Young Avengers. So
true.
I'm ready for it.
Calling it now. Oh, by the way, 4 threat. What up with this? Come on. Now you're just trolling me, AMG. Please.
I mean,
please.
I can't wait for Squirrel Girl to also be a 4th threat.
4th threat. Oh no.
I mean, she took out Dr. Doom. who we don't have yet, which is why she's only a 4 threat instead of a 5, because then that would mean something.
Do you know
That's
who?
why we don't have Doctor Doom. She took him out.
Bonked
That's
him.
true. Just
Well,
give him the old bonks.
Who else is on her body list? Thanos and is it
I
Kang?
forget.
And Kang
yeah.
also gets like off-screen knocked out by Squirrel Girl.
All right.
Anyway,
No
So
idea.
the next reactive is genius requires sacrifice. Your sacrifice, to be precise, for 2 power. When this character is targeted by an enemy attack, it may use the superpower. Choose another allied character within range 2. The chosen character becomes the target of the attack regardless of range and line of sight. So similar to Red Skull's like, no, you block it. Super dope. I think doesn't like Baron Strucker or something have it too? There's another one out there somewhere. Might be a tactics card.
yeah, it's definitely a tactics card. Now, one thing that should be noted, we didn't talk about the flip side, but it's important to know, which is, I'm just going to knock it out real quick. When you flip the card, health goes down to 5. This power also becomes free.
So that I didn't notice. Yeah, you're right.
Well, it's 0, so stuff like Root
Well, yeah, fair.
and
Yeah,
Loki,
fair,
you'll
And
still
Loki
have to pick.
tax.
yeah, fair point. Yeah,
Got to give him the root. Everyone wants to give MODOK the root.
it's what everybody says.
But
I
this
went to the
helps.
grocery store and they were talking about that.
This helps keep him alive. You know what I mean? In Criminal Syndicate, you got a lot of fat bodies that could jump in the way of MODOK, and he's not going to be ashamed to use it. I mean, legitimately, like lizards and kingpins and stuff, being able to kind of soak some heavy attacks here was actually going to be pretty dope. Pretty dope. His last ability on his healthy side is an innate called I am MODOK, Master of the Mental Arts. Similar to the Sentinels, which is why they're best friends. And when this character is defending against a mystic attack, it adds blanks in its roll to its total successes. So unlike the Sentinels, sorry, I never actually read this ability. Additionally, this character cannot be pushed or advanced by effects of enemy mystic attacks or enemy superpowers.
It's a very, very niche, amazing ability. Like this makes him on Convocation book turn brutal.
Yep.
Brutal to get through. If the other person can't put energy out there, MODOK's going to stand where he pleases.
Listen, I've been saying it for years. MODOK unlocks Convocation.
You have said that since the game, actually before the game even started.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you, but I've heard.
Right? But I mean, think of that. All of a sudden, for 4 threat, a character that can count blanks as successes on defense. There's not another character out there for 4 threat that people have ever wanted before or cared about in any way. But now we finally have one. And he works well with wizards.
Wow, this one seems so appropriately costed too. It's so crazy.
That's right.
Wow.
So
That's great.
like Dr. D said, on his flip, he does shrink down to 5 stamina. So burning through. So very similar to MODOK. Once you start punching that chair, he starts wobbling real hard. The genius requires sacrifice, becomes 0 power, and I think those are the only changes, right? His defenses seem to stay the same.
Yeah, should be the same.
Just those 2, but I hadn't noticed that at first. That genius requires sacrifice does in fact go to a 0 power ability, and I do like that. It's so like I guess. So as far as being able to introduce that ability and have it not cost anything, I don't think there's a way to make that 0, right? There's no reactives that have just no power cost. They all have like a 0 specific power cost, right?
No, there's a couple. Groot, I think his bodyguard for Rocket, or I forget how that interacts, but I'm pretty sure that one costs 0.
No, I mean like not having a number cost there, like not having anything there, so it wouldn't be affected by root.
Oh, then it would just be an innate, right?
Right.
Yeah, it would just be a trait at that point.
Yeah.
So this is, and the only reason I think that it's important to note that it's not like an innate or whatever, which I guess it wouldn't affect them anyway. But Emma, Mystique, and Wanda turning off powers can just turn it off with the card. Wanda with the card. No more mutant, she says. She said, no more bodyguarding, MODOK. Blammo, building to your face.
Or who's the other one? What was the other card we got recently? Emma? Or you said that. You said Emma.
Emma's not a card, though. That's just on her card.
Gotcha.
That's just her.
Okay. Dope, though.
That's just the stepper. Almost as dope as Psylocke. The Stepford ability of just telling you that you're not allowed to do anything before she like shoots a psychic bolt into your brain. It's pretty powerful. George doesn't like it, clearly. I think George would probably be fine though, because of the whole like 5 mystic blank defense.
And counting blanks on that, that's awesome. Like,
It's so good.
what an incredible ability for a 4
There's a
threat.
there's a lot of anti-mystic stuff going on around here lately, and I don't like it. First, I'm not here for it. We need to go back to the days when everybody only had physical attacks and physical defenses.
Very
Those are the days
legitimate.
I love.
Very legitimately, though, do you consider including MODOK in your convocation list?
The thought through. See, the problem with convocation is you have so many good 4s.
Yeah.
He's in content. I mean, just like Psylocke, you could put him in there. If anybody put him in there, would I think they're wrong? Me, yeah. But I mean, are they wrong? No. I'm just judgy. No, but seriously, I think he works really well in Convo. I'd be curious to see what his cards are. You know, we're having this discussion again. There's probably going to be some cards come out.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is I think he's already really solid as a 4, like incredibly solid as a 4. And I mean, potentially, unless we get 3 new Brace for Impacts, I think the cards are going to accelerate him even more.
I would say that AMG has been knocking it out of the park with the character designs. I will say that I think this MODOK is like, I've seen a couple people kind of mimic the same way of thinking. I don't find him like really like exciting per se, but he doesn't really need to be. He's just like solid.
Yeah.
It's like Psylocke. Psylocke isn't like, there was nothing about Psylocke that got me like, ooh, yeah, but she's just good. She's just very playable. And really, this is one of those characters where I think you can play her or him or whatever and not be like, dang, I should have brought like another character. Like, this is one of the ones where you're like, okay, I feel like the 4 threat is justified.
Yeah. Yep, I completely agree.
So I think he's great.
Brian, where are you putting him, and why is it not Steve Rogers' Avengers?
I'm actually not, and this is a small tangent that I was going to go on. I don't really foresee using him outside of Criminal Syndicate as a leader.
All right, well, you're wrong just out of the gate. But
I mean, especially as a leader. Especially as a leader. You're never going to use him as a leader anywhere else.
Just because from my thinking on how I kind of look at it, unaffiliated characters that you add in should be shoring up a weakness, not taking away from what you're trying to do. And like, that's all he does. It's just like, hey, you over there, your power is now mine. Hey, you over there, your health is now mine as you take this attack. Like, I don't know. I think maybe if there's some sort of, I mentioned it before, maybe there's some sort of like weird kind of niche thing with like a war machine who's got tons of power with nothing really to do with it, and he's got damage reduction. Like, having him kind of palling around. Maybe grunts would be great little targets for him, but then again, you're stealing power from other people. I don't know. Because like, aside from him surviving, like he doesn't really, to me, he doesn't really do anything kind of intriguing. You know, like I've been looking at the card and I'm like, aside from that mystic attack, like, couldn't I just take Beta Ray Bill?
I do think his,
like,
I will say, similar to, you sound like me when I'm talking about Rhino. Similar to that situation, he has a size 3, range 3, size 4 throw.
Yeah.
That's worth its weight in gold sometimes.
I'm not excited to try him out in lots of different places. I'm going to leave that to Tim. I'll let Tim swim in those waters.
Here's the thing. And this is actually, listen, I'm actually an incredible swimmer. I'm mostly body fat. I float like no one else.
Sure.
So this is going to seem like a joke at first, but I actually mean this very legitimately.
Sure.
I would put nanites on MODOK in a heartbeat.
Just to make him
and put him in instead of one of the non-primes in Sentinels.
Okay.
I think he's actually, that's a good idea.
And you know what's crazy? You actually give him flight.
And then he has flight. He has immunity to poison and bleed. He can be healed by Hood now. Also a great Sentinels character. You have additional rerolls. You're getting more power on a regular basis. Sentinels does kind of lack throws. This fills in that gap for him, something they don't have. Also, Mystic Attacks, something they don't have. They're also super resistant as a whole to Mystic. MODOK certainly follows up in suit with that. I actually really like MODOK in Sentinels. I also really like Sentinel Prime in Criminal Syndicate with MODOK. I
MODOK,
really like it both ways.
also well-known hater of muties.
Is he?
No.
Oh, I thought he was a
designed only
mutant
for-
only designed for kissing. My bad. But especially with the, he kind of also synergizes with them very well with restraint cables and being able to use psionic assault to advance them short and additional method. I mean, if you really want to just dogpile someone or pull someone in, get some attacks off, and then get them away, he's also good for that because you can go in any direction with that advance. Yeah, I think I like it a lot. And he can throw a Sentinel Prime, which everyone knows Sentinels as a whole are just incredibly durable and never get dazed or KO'd.
Never.
He can throw them in there as a bodyguard as well.
You know, Tim,
Sure.
very profound thought. That was really good.
Thanks.
Have you been practicing?
I have been playing a bunch of Sentinels recently, and by Sentinels I mean I played Sentinels once, and I've just been using the Sentinel Prime in a whole bunch of other affiliations because honestly, he's dope. I actually really like Sentinel Prime a lot. Being able to turn 2, walk up to someone, and then 8 strength energy builder into their face, get all of your power back and more. I like it.
Not bad.
Yep.
Not
Yeah,
bad.
it's basically what the affiliation's kind of just built around. It's just
Well-
like turn 2 big blasts.
And Doomsday Chair at range 4, being able to apply Incinerate, as far as I'm aware, maybe Sentinels has access to Incinerate with the Spender, but
With the
I'm never using the
suppression
Spender.
protocols, yes.
I never use it. I'm just using that beefed up builder. I'm getting all my power back, and I'm just going about my day.
I mean, if you have enough, I will sometimes use suppression protocols as kind of like a first shot, just to try to get the incinerate, and then you go for the plasma blast.
Okay, yeah, I don't hate that.
Because it's kind of about the same dice. Especially if the target isn't like beefed up with physical, as far as physical defense
Yeah.
goes. So,
You know what? I
but
had a
that's just
thought.
me. Okay.
Ben brought up the fact that a lot of the flurries need shield triggers. No,
Oh.
never mind. Doesn't work. I was just about to say, because that's his leadership ability. I was going to say, what if you put him in Inhumans in Unblock Medusa? Oh my god! But that's not how that works. So
Medusa
never
also
mind.
just needs more. She needs a crit and a wild now for Flurry.
Is that? I thought does she not need a shield?
No, is that Corvus?
Is that who it is?
Is that new Corvus that needs the shield?
It might
new
be.
new Corvus.
Well, the updated Corvus from the
Oh, from
newest
the-
Corvus.
yeah,
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 for
from the
Deathblow,
update, yeah.
he needs a
That
shield.
was like
and a-
600 years ago, dude.
Listen,
that was like 700 beers ago.
I'm still writing
Gee.
2022 on checks accidentally. So like, it wasn't that long ago.
That's fair. Hey, you know, I got to say, all this talk about MODOK makes me really excited for what might be next. What about you, Tim?
It does make me excited. Actually, it doesn't. As everyone knows, not a proponent of Squirrel Girl. And
What?
You know, in a Facebook comment the other week or last week, some might say, someone asked when's Squirrel Girl coming, and they're like, "Oh, we can't announce her for another 10 days." And lo and behold, day 10, we get the silhouetted version of Squirrel Girl. Why is she a 4? And how do we know for a fact she's a 4?
So I think Doreen herself is going to be a 2, and then I think it's +1 threat for each of her squirrels. So the main squirrels, I should say. So between Tippy Toe and Monkey Joe, if they're both on her base, she's going to be a 4 threat. I mean, squirrels are 1 threat. Let's be honest. Let's be real, okay? We've never been real here once. Let's be real right now. Squirrels are 1 threat.
All right,
there you go.
so I don't hate that at all. As someone that has taken down Thanos, all right, you're bringing me around on Squirrel Girl a little bit. If you're telling me Squirrel Girl is a 2 threat and has grunts or some other, like almost gems that are squirrels that give her additional abilities at 1 threat each, and she can be 4 threat that way, if there's a character to introduce that insanity with, it is in fact Squirrel Girl. And, I don't hate that.
It's not going to happen, but it does sound fun, doesn't it?
We don't know that for certain.
I think Squirrel Girl will probably be a 3. I'm hoping that she's a leader or not a leader, but like a parent, whatever they're called, whatever the leader, the grunt, the dad. I want her to be a daddy. I want her to be a dad, a squirrel dad.
I think the disappointment that people will have with it is the squirrels will be a spender or a token buff.
It's gonna 100%. So what I know that she usually does in the book is she either throws the squirrel and the squirrel goes and does something, or she summons an army of them. 100%. I think when you look at the picture, like I said, there's like 2 main squirrels. There's Monkey Joe and then there's Tippy Toe. Tippy Toe's the one with the bow. Monkey Joe dies. I think Dr. Doom like squishes him or something like that. I don't know the whole story, but what I suspect is one of the squirrels is going to be on the model. It looks like Monkey Joe because I don't see a bow. I suspect the token is going to be Tippy Toe, and it'll be something similar to Jonathan. Maybe different. Maybe do something different.
Yeah, so I don't disagree.
Like a throw version.
Yeah, I don't disagree with the like ranged Jonathan. That actually kind of makes a lot of sense and would make her very unique. And I guess I don't hate that.
I think Army of Squirrels will probably be a spender. I don't judging based like in that picture, like every time they've ever had like anytime it's been a dad, there's always been like the thing that's the kid like next to it. So unless the picture itself is just like in such an angle where like a little army of squirrels can't be like kind of made out from it, I don't think she's going to be a leader. I wish she was again a parent. I wish she would have been, but whatever.
What if she's so to get really weird with it, and I guess not weird, but just something I think a lot of people would actually like to see. What if she's an affiliation leader for the Great Lakes Avengers new affiliation?
Well, the problem is who else would be in the affiliation right now? I don't think there's very many.
No one. Because probably currently.
Stature's not out. I think I remember there being like one person that came out. I think that was in it.
Stature is a Great Lakes Avenger?
Is she a Great Lakes or is she a West Coast? I know she's one of the 2.
She was a young Avenger, which then became West Coast.
Yeah, she must be a West Coast then. Wasn't Evil Wolverine his like weird son thing?
Dakin?
Wasn't he Dakin?
Dakin, yeah.
Was he a
He was a Dark Avenger.
He was a Dark Avenger. That's what I'm thinking. There's way too many Avengers, man.
Well, so like legitimately, I really want Dark Avengers like hard. I love that. Bullseye as Hawkeye, Dakin as Wolverine, Moonstone as Miss Marvel, Ares as Thor was also just dope. Norman Osborn as Iron Patriot. Mac Gargan Venom.
Yep.
Matt Gargan not liking it when Venom ate a bunch of people, so he'd occasionally burst out of his stomach and vomit while Venom was eating somebody. I really want Dark Avengers, actually quite a bit. Oh, and Sentry. I mean,
yeah, you gotta have Sentry. First, like 10 threat, like please.
Yeah, right. That when he flips, he's a -3 threat as he becomes the Void. Your opponent just gets control of him. Actually,
that's another one of those characters I think where if you like KO'd him, he like might just give the other team like a VP or something.
Yeah. Yep.
Poor Sentry. And if there's Null on the field, you just rip him in half.
No, Null ripped Sentry in half.
Yeah,
Sentry ripped Carnage in half, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Because that's why Null did it. He was like, "Oh, you did this to my boy. Look what they did to my boy."
To my boy. All right.
Brian, how excited are you for Squirrel Girl and why is she a 4 threat?
I'm more intrigued by Squirrel Girl. Like, aside from just like the memes of like she kills everybody, I have no idea. I like no idea what's going on with this. I would like to see some sort of tactics card where it's like a Helios laser, but it's like a beam.
Squirrels.
Just the squirrels. I think that would be a lot of fun.
That's interesting. Interesting take. I accept.
Yep.
Just kind of like cap it so you can't go too crazy. But yeah,
it's 2 power for dice added, but all wilds count as doubles.
Sure.
Because I think Squirrel Girl's powers are just limited to
Squirrel communication.
Squirrels.
Yeah.
Like talking and communicating.
Oh, apparently the tail is real. Okay, I didn't know that. I'm looking it up right now. So she has superhuman agility, senses, and strength. She has a prehensile tail. She's got razor sharp claws. She has retractable knuckle spikes, just like a real squirrel, and the ability to communicate with squirrels.
All right, so
I
she's
love
gonna
it when
have
you're
Pierce and
Broken
Bleed
style tail.
on her
Get
builder.
mugged by a squirrel, and like a little knuckle bone comes out. You're like, oh my gosh.
Maybe she'll be able to interact within range too.
Oh,
That's possible because
Yep.
nobody else has really had a power based on a tail, right? There's Toad's tongue.
mhm.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody else. Well,
All right.
Yeah, so maybe she'll
prehensile.
just be like a 4-threat toad.
Well,
A
in
4-threat
Blood
Toad
Bowl,
and
she's gonna
Honey
be
Badger.
-1 to dodge rolls.
A wombo combo of Toad and Honey Badger. Pierce and Bleed on either a builder or a spender.
Honey Badger.
Yeah, because
Honey Badger has entered the chat.
the Squirrels will be able to get in to reduce their defenses. You get the Toad tongue with the tail, or the Squirrels. I
I'm
think
just gonna take all those character rules, just combine them on a 4-threat, just generic body,
Like
yeah,
a
and I'm
chassis.
just gonna play it.
yeah, acid spit,
Good.
tongue
I'm
punch,
just
or
gonna
whatever
tell
Toad
people
has.
This is how it is.
It's lick. It's a
Oh,
lick.
gotcha.
I'm like, oh yeah,
Tongue
as
punch.
owner of Professional Casual,
That's
I got the leaks.
It's true.
So
Congratulations, Brian. You see,
Yeah,
if Dan was
thanks.
the owner, he could make the claim that Iceman's coming out soon, but he hasn't been the owner in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a hot
shut
minute.
down.
I mean,
That's-
so Dan's
just gonna shut it down. Iceman removed from Marvel. Give him the Image to replace Spawn.
We're gonna we're gonna wait out. It's gonna be a Christmas present some year.
I did really, really, really like one of the first comments on that reveal or that teaser on the AMG Facebook was Dan saying Iceman's ice golem on his shoulder look really cute, and I thought that was good.
Poor Dan.
Listen.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we've had conversations, right? And I told AMG that Dallas is going to have to be the owner of Professional Casual Network if they ever end up making Iceman. So he was like, not for me. And I was like, listen, I get it, but those,
I mean, you're
them's
a busy
the ropes.
guy. You're a busy guy,
right?
You're the longest standing leader of Professional Casual, so you know it better than anyone else.
That's true. That's true. Everyone is just going to have to play a bunch of World of Warcraft, Blood Bowl.
Oh boy, oh
So-
boy, and then do tricep dips every time they score a goal.
Listen, that's true. It's the one I can do from my chair very easily without breaking this green screen behind me or lights. We got to get better at that. We got to figure out some other exercises to do when we score a Blood Bowl goal. But listen, we'll get there.
Oh, hey, by the way, Brian, since
Yes.
you're not on here all the time, let me do the Tim's job. What characters do you hoping come to the game?
Look at this guy. You're the new owner of Professional Casual Network.
Dude, can I have Iceman? I'm just kidding. Let's do the wall. All right, here we go.
I would actually. I'm really kind of holding out for Red Hulk.
Oh yeah.
Because I want that red team of Thunderbolts. And if you kind of work it out right, all the members of that team, you can group them all together and they're 20 threat.
Yep.
If Red Hulk's a 6.
Which he probably will be.
So-
Again,
All the
I'm
rest
not
of them
super
are in the
familiar
game
with-
now, aren't they?
Yeah, everybody.
I didn't
else is.
realize that Agent Venom was one of the last holdouts outside of.
Oh.
Huh.
Yeah,
'Cause
and
it's-
my Agent Venom even has the red emblem on there. Like, I'm getting ready.
My
'Cause
Hulk
it's-
is a red Hulk with a mustache because Thunderbolt Ross shouldn't lose that when he transforms.
So it's Elektra, Punisher,
Ghost Rider.
Red Hulk, Ghost Rider.
Agent Venom and Deadpool.
Not Ghost Rider wasn't in it. It was.
He was in it at one
Deadpool,
point because they.
Punisher. Well, I'm more thinking of this like specific run that I was kind of thinking of, but
No, but that particular group goes to teams up with Ghost Rider to go to hell to fight Mephisto for some reason, and it's Guido, strong guy, on the throne of hell, and they're like, Guido, what are you
maybe
doing
later
here?
on.
And he's like, oh well, yeah, I accidentally got down here, so I just beat up the devil, and I guess I'm the devil now. And it's just like, this is the greatest story I've ever read.
I just got through like the initial one with like the leader and the leader's brother.
Yeah.
Like trying to do all that crazy thing. I didn't really dive too much deeper after that.
I never thought I was gonna like another Thunderbolts run as much as I liked the run that ran into Dark Avengers. But yeah, that red team with Punisher and Red Hulk, I loved that as well. It was really good.
I thought it was really, really, really cool. That's it.
Thunderbolt Ross, though, good choice.
Yep.
Very much so.
That and Bishop, just for sentimental reasons. But
Bishop is dope.
yeah.
Is it gonna be the like the Beta Ray Bill situation where he's going to be like the 4-threat version of Cable that's just better in every single way.
Probably. Yeah.
Well,
Oh.
I mean,
similar.
if they don't
yeah.
give him the mullet, I'm gonna be really, really sad.
Yeah, he needs the mullet.
I don't
mean, all the
want-
characters are based off the show. He had the mullet in the show.
So I hope so.
100% of it. 100%.
But all right, guys. So that is going to bring us to the tail end here. Make sure to follow those events that we talked about at the top of the show. All of the links for them will be in the show notes if you're listening to the podcast version of this. So that was Ironweld and Everwinter. Both of those can be found at wickeddicey.com. Longshanks is where you'll be able to find the Art Store LVO Qualifier next month, April 15th, as well as the Salt City GT, which will be the weekend of July 7th. In addition to those, there's the Atlantic City Open, Adepticon in just 2 short weeks. We're going to be streaming pretty much all of those, so make sure to stay tuned right here. Also, make sure to stay tuned here for updates on the Sentinel Watch and why Sentinel Prime should be splashed in every affiliation across the board. And a huge thank you.
Gotta keep it pure.
What's that?
You gotta keep things pure. I don't like all this Sentinel Prime splashing.
Well,
No
so I
hussy.
mean that is what. So it's not really splashing, right? So if you play Weapon X program with a Sentinel Prime on it, it's the Sentinel X program. If you play Avengers, it's actually Steve Sentinel's Avengers. It's still Sentinels, whether you're playing the Sentinel's affiliation ability or not.
Just saying, my Sentinel Prime ain't no hussy. He's a loyal boy.
Now mine is. Everyone loves those restraint cables, and he's going to get the job done. But speaking of, a huge thank you to our patrons over at patreon.com/professionalcasual, including our King Ding Doppeldongers and our professional cake sitters, of whom include Bastian and Rob, Bicon, Leroy, Devil Pup, Otis, Dr. D, Iron Maze, Wizard Skills, Dagna, Dr. D. Did I ever see Dr. D?
Nope, already said it.
Ah, nuts. I am off my base. So on some of the other shows,
Cider drinker.
Cider Drinker and Cider Drinker.
And Cider Drinker. Yep.
And that last one is, I did Otis, Devil Pup, Dagna, Leroy,
Was
Dr.
it Wizard
D.
Skills?
I did Wizard Skills and Iron
Yep.
Maze and Bicon and Leroy and Cider Drinker. Tony Hot Hands.
Tony Hot Hands. There you go.
There it is.
How could you forget him?
Listen, because sometimes, people forget to go over and sign up for the LVO qualifier on May 20th at Bearded Dragon Games and Hobbies in Oneonta, New York. So that's at our local game store where we stream, the Power Phase from every week. You can also check out beardeddragongames.online. Use code PCME10 at checkout for 10% off your order. Or if you pre-order any MCP model, you will just get a flat 15% off. Don't tell Tony Hot Hands, but if you use code PCME10 as well, they stack until he fixes it. He doesn't know it's there yet, though, so get it while you can. In addition to all that, Shatterpoint is up there in full force. The core set, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Count Dooku, extra dice, extra movement tools. That can be pre-ordered at 15% off if you use code PCN Shatterpoint at checkout. That store is also about to go through kind of a boom here. There's going to be a bunch of stuff on there, including Legion, Armada, X-Wing, more board games, more TTT RPGs, Magic, the whole nine. There's also a bunch of stuff up there already.
Hey,
But
Tim, does that include Padawan Ahsoka?
Bearded Dragon Games is, in fact, part of the program to have Padawan Ahsoka.
There you go.
They have not, the distributor has not released the details as far as what will actually qualify you for it, but the assumption is if a certain amount of those core sets are ordered, that Ahsoka will be included. But Bearded Dragon Games is a part of that program. So once those details are out, we'll be able to confirm for sure, but it's like a 95% chance that it will be. Because
That's really high.
It is. It's probably 97. Well, it's all about pattern analysis, right? That's how you kind of get the job done.
There's just enough room in there to fit a squirrel.
There really is. So, and that's the thing too. is it was 95% before MODOK joined the Sentinels with the nanites. Those additional attack rerolls actually brought that percentage up to 97%. So
That's incredible.
Mhm.
That's absolutely incredible.
MODOK with Fly gets you 2% more off at beardeddragongames.online. But guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Next Thursday will be our last episode before Adepticon. So that will be one to tune into. I think it'll be dope. But guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next time. And remember to leave the blood on the bracket. This has been Wait, Did I Roll a Wild?